Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Stake, episode 21. I am your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
How's it going, man? How are you doing? Everything okay?
Man, it's been a busy, last...
I'm trying to have high energy today.
Yeah,
okay?
It's been a busy, 4 weeks, yeah.
I'm tired as hell, but I'm excited for the show.
I'm surprised we've been doing it this week, man. We've both been hella busy.
Look, we're dedicated, okay?
Yeah.
We're dedicated. We've missed one episode, and I never want that to repeat. I never want to miss another episode.
What was the episode we missed?
It was like episode 3.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody was listening to us, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean, nobody's really listening to us now. But, at the time, we had, literally, we get, 2 listens, and we'd be excited about it.
Yeah.
We'd be like, oh, my God, somebody listened to the show. Oh. And it was, me listening to it over to, to hear the audio or whatever. Yeah, good times. But we're dedicated, all right? We're not going to miss an episode.
Yes.
We just care about the show. We like the show. We enjoy doing the show, so we're going to do the show. What have you been playing?
Nothing.
I know. Seriously, dude. I want to play some video games, okay? I went on vacation 2 weeks ago, and God, you'd think I would have 100 hours of gaming.
Yeah.
I might have 10, 15 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, because you have responsibilities,
so
man. You're an adult.
I hate being an adult. Can I just say that? I hate being an adult.
It sucks, man.
I hate having responsibilities.
I was over my girlfriend's house the other day, and I did not even want to pick up my Switch. I just didn't even want to pick it. She was doing homework for about 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, I didn't want to pick my Switch up. I just watch anime all day.
Well, dude, I finished Xenoblade Chronicles 2, right, a few weeks ago, and you'd think that would free me up to play something else on Switch. My Switch has been sitting in the dock since I beat that game.
Yeah.
And it's I could bring it to work and play it on my break, but I just I look at it in the morning and I'm like, am I really going to play you?
And I have a couple of games. I still have to finish Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I have a ton of games.
And I still have to play Mario Odyssey.
I want to play Zelda again.
I haven't even played it.
It's
something about Zelda that's turning me off from playing
Dead Cells, Wargroove I have.
Yeah. And it's a lot of indie games that release too, and it's just, I don't know. Maybe
so with the 3 hours you spent playing games this past week, what did you play?
League of Legends.
PUBG.
And PUBG.
We did play PUBG, and that was fun. We had some fun.
Oh, that was really fun.
We had a very fun session, not because of PUBG. It was other things that happened. Some discussions were had, because of the Twitter philosophers. And we had some fun discussions there. But the game was fun, too.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Actually, I will say, I do remember this one piece, that the game
runs smoother.
Runs way better. It's been 3 months since we played.
I'm not
I couldn't believe it.
I'm not a nationalist or whatever the fuck you call it, but yo, thank God they got China out of there, man.
China got China out of there.
Yeah, okay? China got China.
Yeah. It was the funniest thing when I realized how this whole thing played out. Because, think about it. Right, China, there were no region locking for a while. Everybody hated China because Chinese people could just come into anybody's game and lag it out and ruin it and desync out everywhere.
Yep.
Then they did region locking to everybody's benefit. However, the Chinese still managed to get into people's games. Then China decides to ban PUBG and introduce its own game that is just PUBG but Chinese.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about all those Steam threads where they show the patch notes and literally every single person is putting in ASCII, ban China, ban China, ban China, ban China, ban China, and China banned itself. So
that's really,
it's hilariously ironic.
It's like a poetry. It's like Hamlet or something. I don't know what it is.
I want to know, though. I really want to know if the performance boost we were seeing was because there were no Chinese people in the game, or because Bluehole got its shit together and realized that they can't make money off China anymore, so they actually have to make a good video game because the rest of us have standards.
I think it's both. I think it's both now. I mean, because they still have Korea, but Korea has high standards for video games.
My frame rates were stable. I didn't have any artifacting anymore. There was no screen tearing.
There was a little bit of desyncing, but
there was a little bit of desync, but the game felt good.
Yeah.
Movement felt good. Characters are not as sluggish as they used to be.
Man.
They're a little bit smoother. They seem to be. They're doing some things over there. I see them. I see them. I see you. Blue
they see they have competition, though. I think that's the biggest thing. They have all these battle royales coming out.
But they've stuck around. They've kind of endured because no one's copied them. No one's really copied PUBG. It's funny.
I thought the one that was going to copy it, which ironically is the worst battle royale, is Firestorm.
Yeah. Oh, Battlefield?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which they didn't really
do. They didn't really do too good. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny that PUBG's kind of stuck around. It's because it's the only game that you can get that tactical shooter feel from, with these battle royales.
I think if Ghost Recon comes out with it would probably kill PUBG. But then again, it wouldn't.
Think so?
Then again, it wouldn't because
Tom Clancy's boring, dude.
Yeah. And like I said, that's third person. They might just keep it third person. They might not have a first person
that's the
view.
other problem is third person.
Yeah.
Sorry, battle royale in third person is a big no for me.
Yeah.
Like I have no interest in your I have no interest in your battle royale if it's third person. Which Fortnite is. Fortnite gets away with it because Fortnite is so loosey goosey and it's an arcadey game.
It has so many options you can do.
Yeah. I'm okay with it in that game. I guess it depends on the style, but if you're going for a tactical shooter, third person is the worst choice because that's not tactical. You get to cheat and look around corners when you're not actually exposing yourself.
Exactly.
Like, that's not tactical.
Yeah.
Like, you're taking advantage of a game.
They would have to design a map around that.
Exactly.
So,
and I don't know how that's possible because you can't like you can always look around a building corner and things like that, and the end of a fence or something like that. You can always do that.
Like you can have you can't have cover, but like have like holes in the cover where people can see like, oh, this hole is covered up or something like that.
Yeah. So PUBG, you been playing anything else?
Yeah, I played League of Legends with our friend and one of his friends, and that was actually pretty fun. I mean, playing pubs on League of Legends is actually way more fun than like ranked.
I don't play ranked.
Yeah, I stopped playing ranked a long time
because
ago.
everybody they take it too seriously, man.
Yeah.
And people take pubs too seriously sometimes, but it's a lot rarer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even when I'm playing solo pubs, it is pretty toxic. But when I'm playing with people, like if I'm just playing with you or Jed or one of his friends or something like that, or one of my friends, and we're just all in there, I have a full squad, like, it's actually pretty fun because we can do stupid shit and whatever. No one on your team would care. I mean, the other team may flame, but
maybe I'll join you guys next time. Maybe.
And his friend also likes Dota too.
Good. Ooh, yeah. Oh, man, we're going to double team Jet. We're going to sandwich him. We're going to get him from two angles. Just bludgeon him with that Dota 2. Man, he's the only reason we play League.
I like League too, I ain't gonna lie.
I know, but you will play Dota.
I will play Dota, though.
He's the only reason we play League. I'm going to win. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this battle.
So, how did you, what have you been playing?
Honestly, just Borderlands 1 Remastered. I'm level 20. I think I'm about to hit 24. Level 24.
Okay. So how you like it so far compared to 2?
I mean, the game's opening up. Definitely is more... I think the problem with Borderlands 1, and this is less of a problem in Borderlands 2 because the game is more active, is a lot of the game is you just backing away from things as you shoot at them. Like, that's kind of the gameplay in Borderlands 1.
So it's a lot of rushers and people
there's a lot of rushing monsters that just kind of jump at you and things like that. I mean, obviously the human enemies are there, but it's like, dude, you don't even... I barely even use cover. Like, I'm just standing there just trying to line a headshot up. Like, that's really... Because they don't really do enough damage to be a threat most of the time.
Okay.
So it's weird because Borderlands 2 is like the exact opposite. It's like the other side of the spectrum. Like, you can't do that. Like, you'll die. I mean, maybe on normal. I think the thing is I'm playing on normal, so obviously when I get to the next difficulty, it'll probably ramp up, and I'll have to do some things differently. It's just... I'm playing Mordecai, and he's just not very... He's just like, his action skill is he just throws a bird at people. You know? It's like it's cool, and, it's fun. It's kind of fun to play with him as a character, but he doesn't really say much of anything, and the game's... There's barely any voice acting.
Yeah, so I heard it's like really toned down as far as like the Borderlands, like, drama.
Oh yeah, dude, nothing's really happening. You're just kind of wandering through environments and people tell you to go to this place. There's very few characters that are actually voice acted so far, and the storyline is literally like, hey, there's a vault, go find the vault. The vault's not real, but this lady keeps telling you the vault is real. Yeah. So you keep going towards it. It's like, okay, cool. I will say some of the environments, not the environments, but I did run into some enemies on one of my more recent play sessions that are not in Borderlands 2. They're, I want to say, like, they're like remnants of the Iridians. Okay. Which are kind of a big deal. So they were kind of interesting, but otherwise it's kind of just mostly enemies you fight in Borderlands 2, but dumber.
Okay.
So I'm having fun. The game's not like I'm not like bored of it or anything like that, but
it's just
you
can tell this is the first one.
Yeah, you can definitely tell, and I think there are a lot of people that like this game more than Borderlands 2, and I can see why in certain ways. There's just so much that's just kind of meh about the game.
Yeah,
I don't know how you get there all the way.
Yeah.
You know, like, because Borderlands 2 does have issues. I've said this many times. The scaling in the late game is out of control in that game. Like, it's ridiculous. You're gaining, like, fucking, like, 50,000 hit points every level up. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And the enemies, like, they one-shot you, you know, through a shield. It's stupid, dude. Like, it's ridiculous. This game doesn't feel that way. I mean, as I said, I'm not at the end game yet, but I don't think it feels that way. I'm gonna guess it doesn't feel that way. But, so it's kind of a give and take. I just think the gameplay takes such a jump forward in Borderlands 2. It's hard to deny that fact.
Okay.
Like, and the classes are way more interesting in Borderlands 2 as well. The skill trees are bigger. They're more robust. There's more character customization options, and all the characters are interesting for the most part, except for Axton, the soldier. He's literally the same character as the first game's soldier, except he's a white guy instead of a black guy.
Okay.
They have the same fucking skill, though. They just throw a turd on the ground. It's like, okay, guys. But, yeah, so other than that, though, the other 5 characters from Borderlands 2 are fucking really cool.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm still having fun with it. It's just, you know, I'm not like that. But other than that, yeah, not playing much, man. Just PUBG with you guys. I was going through the list of stories for this week, though, and I saw sites I used to find news. Somebody was talking about Cyberpunk, and it made me think about that Cyberpunk demo from last year, that like 45-minute demo.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about it. I'm like, how far off is that game? Probably like 2 or 3 years, right, before it comes out. You think 2021, probably?
I'm hoping that. I'm hoping for 2020.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I keep seeing, dude, the story I saw was like, man, yeah, they're looking to hire people because they're really ramping up development. I'm like,
are you serious?
Like, what have you guys been doing? This game's been in development for like 7 years. Like,
has it?
Yeah, this game's been a thing. Dude, they showed this game in like 2012 or 2013.
You know what? I do remember on my degenerate days when I was on 4chan, a lot of people had art for it.
It wasn't their primary game for while The Witcher 3 was in development.
Yeah.
But, dude, Witcher 3 came out like 4 years ago. And the second expansion for Witcher 3 came out 3 years ago. So, I mean, the game's going to be big. I trust that the game's going to be great. I'm just sitting here wondering, like, they showed gameplay so early, and they showed such a specific kind of game. Like, what is the final? Is the final product really going to resemble that game?
Maybe they're trying to do, like, because I know a lot of people like me complain that they want some kind of third person, so maybe they're going to implement that somewhere.
I doubt it.
Hopefully, because I would really like a third person mode in that game, but I don't know. Maybe it's just another world or another city that they're conducting or something like that.
The city they're building is so huge. I mean, it just made me think about, like, is the game we saw the game we're going to get? Because that happens to so many games, right? I mean, Anthem, right?
I mean, did The Witcher do that? I don't think The Witcher did that. When we saw The Witcher, that's The Witcher we got.
It was different.
It was?
Yeah, there was some differences. They weren't super obvious, but they were there.
Okay.
I trust CD Projekt. I do. It's just like, I'm just thinking about, like, 45-minute gameplay demo, and the game's not coming out for like 3 years after that. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not a typical way. It's just not a typical thing that most developers do. But all right, anything else? I know. I see it on the list. Are we gonna do this?
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
All right,
everybody.
Okay, so
it's the day after the Game of Thrones series finale.
I think we're gonna. Do you want a dedicated episode to this?
You want to just derail the whole episode?
No, I'm not this episode, but like I'm just saying,
a real episode,
like a real episode, maybe next week or something like that.
Look, we're never gonna do this. We struggle to sit down once a week. Forget about twice in a week. We're not gonna do a separate episode. Let's just talk about it. Let's try to be quick, concise, Yes. Okay. Warning.
Right.
Warning, everybody.
Spoiler
We're gonna spoil season 8 of Game of Thrones. If you haven't
all
seen
of it,
all of it. I'm gonna try to be brief, but I just can't not talk about this.
Yeah.
That's too many feelings.
Yeah. So
go ahead. You first.
the ending of every. Okay.
No, start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. So
how'd you feel in the early part of the season?
The early part of the season, I felt like the first 2 episodes were definitely throwaway episodes. It was cool to see everyone come together.
But, dude, in the grand scheme of the 6 episodes, it's really annoying that 2 hours was dedicated to nothing.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm talking about. A lot of the stuff they did in episode 2, they could have done in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that at all. A lot of character progression within those 2 episodes are happening, and then a lot of accomplishments for those characters were happening.
Yeah.
And it felt good, but like I said, it was just a waste. They could have made episode 1 and 2. Like, honestly, they could have been like a 3-hour episode of them just...
Dude, this is going to be a theme for me throughout this mini segment. I think they should have done 2 10-episode seasons for the last 2 seasons. I think if episode 1 and 2 were episode 1 and 2 in an 8-episode or a 10-episode season, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But when it's only 6, it's just like it's you okay over there?
Yeah. This is on my allergies.
Oh man. I know the eye thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I just like those first 2 episodes in a 10-episode season is perfectly fine, but in a 6-episode season that's truncated, that's trying to rush all these storylines together, it just feels like a waste.
Can you explain to me, because I'm trying to think, what happened in the first episode? Besides him walking back in, what happened?
Arya shows up and sees Jon, and they hug, and then Bran's creeping on everybody, and you remember those memes, right? What a simpler time it was.
That shit was hilarious.
What a simpler time that was. Remember the end of the episode? He's like, I'm waiting for a friend. He was talking about Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
okay.
Because Jamie was going north. So Jon... I think Bran kind of heckles Sam to tell Jon about him being fucking...
Yeah, it was just like a melodrama, right?
Pretty much.
And then,
I legitimately don't remember anything else happening though.
Exactly.
They were like Arya flirts with Gendry and gives him an insta boner when she throws that dagger right next to his head.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, what?
And then episode 2
is everybody banging before the battle.
Much, yeah.
It's just a bunch of characters having sex.
Yeah. And
then Jon finds out he's a Targaryen.
Yep.
And then he tells Daenerys, and
yep.
Daenerys is like, what the fuck? And then the horn sounds that the fucking undead are coming.
All right, so now we're on to episode
3. Which
all right, so
you initially liked.
I initially liked it. And I liked it because it was suspenseful. It was a suspenseful episode.
I thought it was a boring battle.
The battle itself was boring.
Because I didn't believe it was suspenseful at all. Because I never believed anyone important was going to die, and B, I never truly believed they were going to lose. So there was no stakes for me in the fight, like in the middle of the battle, and when when the Night King had that like moment where Daenerys burns him with the dragon flame.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get burned. Like, that was cool. That was a really cool moment. I actually went back and watched it last night. I was like, damn, that was cool. But then, like, the rest of the episode is just like a giant cock tease. Like, because I wanted to see him fight somebody, like go toe-to-toe with someone.
Yeah.
Because every time he's ever been shown, like, in combat, in some sort of combat situation, he fucking annihilates people. Like, he one-shot one of Daenerys' dragon with an ice javelin, last season. Like, the dude's like a fucking Olympic javelin thrower. I feel like if he fought Jon one-on-one, he would have beat the fucking shit out of Jon.
I don't know, man. I just don't feel like... I feel like because he was... Well...
That's why it annoys me.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. They cock tease the shit out of us because Jon's running at him, and he just summons a bunch of dead to like waste Jon's time, and then he just walks away. And
I think what should have happened with that episode was Jon fights him.
No, I think Jon and Arya should have fought him together.
Yeah.
Or Jon should have fought him, and then Arya comes in,
yeah.
gets the killing blow, sneakily while he's distracted. That would have been way more believable and way cooler.
He's like stepping over.
Yeah, rather than him being right about to get his moment of triumph, surrounded by his own army, and Arya somehow manages to sneak by all of them without being seen.
That's believable. To me, the reason that is believable because she's been known to do that multiple times.
Okay, but the shot of her jumping at him is so ridiculous. Where the fuck does she jump from? Did she jump out of the tree? Like, what the fuck?
It was a wall there.
She jumped. No. There's fucking like 50 feet between the wall and the tree, at least bare minimum. There's probably more than that.
Hey man,
it's absurd.
It is absurd. It was an absurd
moment.
I'm not going to take the moment away from her. It was a really cool moment.
I don't mind her getting the moment. It's the way they shot it and framed it. It was. They make it look stupid. They made it look dumb. I liked it. It was super frustrating.
We're going to disagree on that part.
And the Night King goes out like a chump. He just went out like a chump.
I'm not mad at how he went out. I'm mad at we didn't get anything from him. As far as character development, he was so one-dimensional.
Yeah, we don't know anything about him.
We don't know anything about him. And, we don't
know his connection to Bran.
Exactly. People are telling me, like, well, that shouldn't matter. He's just the Night King. He's evil. Dude. And I'm like, well, you guys don't. I don't want to tell people like you don't know what a story is, but like to me that's just bad writing. That's bad writing to build this character up for 7 seasons, and the Night King not say not one word.
They didn't have time to show anything because they were trying to rush it into 6 episodes.
Yeah.
This is my point about 10 episodes. If they had 10 episodes, they would have been able to explore this, but they decided not to, and they didn't have time to. George probably didn't tell them anything, so they didn't know what to do. So they're just like, fuck it, like we're not going to do anything. And dude, with the finale, the fact that we don't know anything about the Bran and the Night King's connection is even more frustrating. Because spoilers. This is spoilers for the series finale of Game of Thrones. Like, this is like, if you're here at this point, like, get out. Like, if you haven't watched it yet, like, get out now.
If you haven't watched the last episode, please get out. We're about to spoil the fuck out of it.
That being said, Bran becoming king of everything it feels okay. These are my real feelings. I believe everything that happened in the series finale is going to happen in the book, the final book.
It's going to happen differently.
I think all the events themselves will happen the same. Not the same way with the same characters involved, though.
Yeah.
I think Daenerys is going to die. I think Jon's going to kill her. I think Bran's going to become king. I think Tyrion's going to become Hand. I think Jon's going to get exiled above the wall. I think Sansa will be the queen of the north.
Yeah.
I think Arya will actually leave and go west. I think all of those things are going to happen. And the problem I ended up having ultimately with everything is the show didn't earn that ending because they didn't properly build up any of those things happening. Bran becoming king feels like it was pulled out of a hat, you know? Like, what the fuck has Bran ever done in this show to deserve being king of Westeros?
Well, that's the thing that really irritated me. So I leaked. Not leaked, but I read.
I saw that you read the leaks.
I read the leaks.
Why'd you do that to yourself?
Because sometimes the leaks weren't true. A lot of stuff in the leaks didn't happen. All of
them were true, though.
But yeah, in the last 3 episodes, everything that happened in the leaks were true. The Battle of Winterfell, a lot of leaks that's supposed to happen didn't happen. They said that Jon was supposed to kill the Night King.
Got it. Okay.
But that didn't happen. He was supposed to have a final showdown with the Night King.
Yeah.
And yeah, none of that happened, obviously. So that's why I didn't believe it. But the last 2 episodes of the leaks did a lot of the stuff that happened. But when they said Bran being the Night King, I did pose that question to everybody, like, hey, man, what if Bran was the Night King? People were like, yo, he better not be the fucking Night King. Not the Night King, but he better not be the king of the throne after everything's said and done. I just think it would have made sense, right, if Bran had some kind of undermining reason for becoming the king. He touched the Night King, or the Night King touched him, and he's like, actually, I'm inside Bran.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Dude,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Or we had been shown scenes of Bran manipulating events up through the entire series to make everything happen the way it happened. That would have... And I think if this does happen in the books, we're going to be shown some of that.
Yeah.
Like, I think some of those things will come to pass. I don't think Bran's just going to willy-nilly end up on the throne because Tyrion has a fucking epiphany. Like, I think he's actually going to manipulate things so that he becomes the king. The problem I have with it is the way they've portrayed Bran is that he doesn't seem to care about anything. He doesn't care about people. He barely even seems like he cares about killing the Night King. He's just like, yeah, we need to kill him. He's bad. Like,
yeah, they made him too stoic.
Yeah, they made him way too emotionless.
Yeah, and I understand that the Three-Eyed Raven's supposed to be like that, but to me, in my impressions of Three-Eyed Raven, he was always this all-seeing person that just watched everything. He was a neutral faction within everything.
He was like a protector. And,
yeah,
and as Tyrion said in the show, he's the world's memory.
Yeah,
right. He can see events in the past. I think the other problem is that why would the people that were present, many of the people present at that meeting, why would they agree to have Bran be king? Why would any of them what the fuck has Bran done for any of them? Like, if he had said Sansa, I could have seen a majority of people at that table being like, fuck yes, she's the queen. I would
have went with that.
Yeah,
I
think most of the people there would have been like, yes, she's the queen. Like, who would have said no? Like, honestly, maybe Yara. Like, maybe I feel like everyone else would have been like, sure, yeah, she's queen material.
Yeah.
Him saying Bran, most of these characters haven't even spoken to Bran, let alone know anything he's done. And he's like, Bran has such an interesting story. Yeah, his story was so interesting that he wasn't in the entirety of season 5. Like, yeah, he's that interesting. Like,
I mean, it makes sense for what he said. He's just like, Bran can't have children. It's almost like a democracy type thing. So when the next king comes along, you have to choose the next king. And he does know the past, so he knows our mistakes and what we can do to prevent those mistakes that we happen. Yeah. So that part made sense to me. I just feel like you said, it wasn't earned. Yeah. Like, the whole Danny. First of all, Danny going mad. So I've been struggling back and forth with Danny going mad, and I've been looking at theories. I've been reading stuff, and I've been watching stuff myself, and I come to two conclusions, right? So we can say on one end that she's always been like a kind of a tyrant in her back of her head.
Yeah, she's always been a conqueror.
Yeah, she's always been that type of person. The reason why she never went overboard is because she had her advisors were her human side.
Like she said, actually, in episode 5, many of the places she liberated, the people rose up and liberated themselves with her presence, with her help. In this case, they didn't rise up, and she murdered, like...
But see, that's one thing. She never, like somebody else pointed out, she's never been the type of person, though, to just be like, I'm about to kill everyone. Yeah. She's been the type of person that say, I'm going to kill evil people, but not innocents. Yeah. And that's the character arc, that character shift in her arc. That's what I can't explain to people why it just shifts, because people are like, well, she had her advisors were her human side, they were keeping her in check, and I'm like, okay, I can see where you're going with that, but she was also going against slavers and genuinely evil people, you can say, quote unquote evil people in her mind. The people of Westeros or the people of King's Landing, they weren't necessarily evil. They were just caught in the middle. They had to get by how they could. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then I saw people like, well, they are innocent. They cheered for Ned's death. And it's like, bro, we're going there cheering for Ned's death? That's where we're going? Okay. And I
believe he was a traitor, so
yeah, I completely dismissed that argument. Yeah. And then how I'm on the other side of the fence, where I think her character arc is complete shit, was because, like I said previously, we never shown her to be ruthless. She's been a conqueror, yes. She's been like not the opposite of ruthless. It's like similar to ruthless, but she's been very powerful, cruel, but she's never been like.
She's never been
cold-hearted.
Psycho. She's never been like psycho.
She's never been cold-hearted and psycho. And she's done things, but it's always been a calculated move, in my opinion. Like for instance, when she gave the dragon to the Unsullied guy, the Unsullied trainer,
Yeah.
right? Like that was calculated. Even her advisor was like, "What are you doing?" And she gave it to him, and then she took it back.
She just burned the wall with it. Yeah.
And then funny. You get to Westeros, and you're telling me because she doesn't really know the people. You're telling me because fucking what's the red beard dude's name? Tormund. Yeah. Because he says, "Oh yeah, the true king of the North over here." He's referring to fucking Jon.
Yeah.
And Jon revealing to her that, "Hey, I'm actually a Targaryen." Yeah. Like, and he doesn't want to sleep with you anymore. You're telling me all this told her to kill millions of people? That's just unbelievable.
This is the problem. I'm going to go back to this again. This is why this season would have benefited from 10 episodes.
Yeah.
You could have really explored her descent. Right?
Yes.
They didn't get to explore her descent because there were too many events that needed to happen in 6 episodes. They didn't have time to show those little scenes of her questioning things, or her going crazy, or her being angry and screaming at people, or like showing her having a moment of cruelty that she hasn't had in the past. Like they didn't have an opportunity because they didn't have time to really show her descent.
Yeah.
And the thing is, her turning is not an unbelievable thing. Like there's plenty of foreshadowing within the series that shows that is a possibility for her.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it just you don't get to do that in a single episode. It's no, not even 2 episodes. I don't count. Episode 4 barely has anything that remotely foreshadows she's about to do this.
Okay.
It's all in episode 5. Her, Varys, like going against her and trying to convince Jon to make a play, and then writing a bunch of letters, trying to poison her, and then her finding out and killing him. Right? That was the first thing. Like, and then Tyrion being so obsessed with the fucking bells, where he's like, if you hear the bells, they've surrendered. Call off the attack. He says that like fucking 5 times, before the battle starts. And then her moment when she actually decides to burn everybody, where her face contorts and she doesn't say a word, and she just...
You actually never see her after that again.
No, she's not in the rest of the episode. Yeah, she's not in the rest of the episode. She's just kind of above on Drogon burning everybody. We don't see her enjoying it. We don't see her saying anything. We don't see her even regretting what she's done in some way, or realizing what's happening. Like maybe she loses control of Drogon and she can't stop him from continuing to burn shit. And it's, I don't know. It was just, to me, it's poorly done. And it did a disservice to Daenerys' character. I think it's really unfortunate because, like, she is an interesting character. I think a lot of people felt betrayed by the moment that it, like, ruined her. Like, if it's properly built up, you
can understand it.
You can understand it happening, right? But when it just happens out of the blue in a single episode, it's not... Like, also, when her face, like, contorts on the dragon and she's like looking at the Red Keep and she's hearing the bells and she's like, you can see her like processing and like being like, fuck all these people.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you have her say something in that moment? Like anything.
Honestly,
like burn them all or something like that, where she has a moment like she's turned into her dad. Or you show a flashback of her dad going crazy and saying burn them all, and then you put that side by side with her in the moment,
Honestly, man, like, just thinking about that scene, there was no reason for her to burn them all. Like,
she had won. They had thrown their arms down.
Yeah, there was no reason for her to do any of that.
And dude, both of us, I remember said this. We both thought in that moment she was going to fly to the Red Keep and burn Cersei.
That's
alive.
what I thought she was going to do.
That's what I thought she was about to do.
And what would have been cooler is if, because like you saw in the scene, right, when she was burning the whole city, you saw green fire.
Yeah.
So what I thought was going to happen was, what I thought should have happened was, maybe she does bring the Unsullied in there to go first with Dothraki, and they just get fucking firebombed by the green, I forgot what they call it, the wildfire, and they just get destroyed by it, and she's like so turned off by that shit, even though they surrendered, and she probably sees Cersei's like smirking or some shit like that,
Yeah.
Or maybe she does fly to the Red Keep after that whole scene happens, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, yo, surrender. I won't fucking kill you. And Cersei's just like, nah, fuck you. Fuck everything you wrote on. Fuck the dragon you wrote in on. Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And she just fucking loses it.
that's why I hate what they did to Cersei too.
Yeah,
because Cersei has been a cold stone bitch the entire series.
So,
and she falls apart at the last second.
So people were saying that is the redeeming moment that everyone should have.
Redemption.
No, people said like that should have been your moment of being like that should have been a satisfying death. The satisfying thing was seeing her break, turn to a little girl, start crying, and I'm like, it wasn't earned though. It's
not her.
It just didn't feel cool. Like it didn't feel. I don't even think we saw Tywin on the toilet. He didn't even break.
The dude had an arrow in his fucking gut.
Yeah,
and he's just like
the only one that would have broken that moment to me is fucking Jamie.
Yeah.
And then
Jamie would have been like, we need to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jamie should have made it and be like, yo, like so it should have just happened like this. Like Jamie makes it to the Red Keep and she gets to the Red Keep at the same goddamn time. Or Daenerys does. And she sees Jamie there and she's like, oh shit, wait a minute. So she just looks back and then zooms in on Tyrion and she's like, these motherfuckers betrayed me. Fucking kills everybody because she feels betrayed. Like, it's so many avenues they could have done with that.
But they didn't do any of that. They didn't do anything like that. They didn't show anyone betraying her. They didn't, like, none of that. She just had a moment where she's like, I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
And it just felt so stupid. And... Yeah. Even the next episode when she's talking about taking over the world, like she never in the history of this show expressed taking over the world. It was always the Seven Kingdoms.
Westeros. And dude, they were so much like obvious like Nazi imagery to that whole scene.
Oh my god!
With the fucking flag on the left side, just draped over the destroyed keep. She's standing at the top of these like giant steps, giving this like impassioned fucking victory speech or whatever. And it's like, I mean, I gotta hand it to Emilia Clarke. Like, dude, she nailed that fucking scene.
That scene was dope.
Like, she like seriously, that was the like one of the few scenes in the finale where I was like, man, dude, like she. Especially, she's legitimately a warlord. Like she's turned into a warlord. I'm sitting there seeing the Dothraki. Like it just
felt so unearned. Like when I was watching it though, in that moment, if I when I cut everything else off from what happened, yeah, you're right. Like that was like the dopest scene when she walked up, the dragon wings came from behind her.
Oh my god, yeah.
That whole scene, that actress and like whoever the cinematographer really nailed that shit.
Nailed the shit out.
Oh my god, it was such a good scene. But I feel like all of it was for nothing. I put down on my Twitter like all this cool shit was for nothing because she gets killed literally like 10 minutes later.
Well, dude, the first 15 minutes of the episode of them just walking through rubble, and then Tyrion just magic finds fucking Jaime's golden hand in the middle of the fucking rubble, and somehow they died from one layer of rocks falling on them. Like, what are we talking about here, dude? The previous episode they show the entire ceiling caving in on top of them, and there's like tons of just like room to walk around, and like what the fuck, like just inconsistencies like that are my issue with this season. Is like they just seem like they don't care anymore. And there was another. You remember how in episode 4 they found like there was a Starbucks cup in one of the scenes?
Yeah,
dude, there was a fucking water bottle in the final scene, the scene where they were electing Bran. There was a fucking water bottle under somebody's chair.
Are you serious?
In the episode, yeah. Like I just saw that article today. I'm like, guys, like how little do you give a shit? Like you how many times like did this happen this season? Is there more that we haven't even seen? Like, it's like
this
come on,
this
man.
is one of the greatest like pieces of pop culture in our fucking century, like our generation. Like the next generation, people are going to be like, man, remember in the 2010s when Game of Thrones came out? Like that. This is like our pop culture, and they messed it up.
They fucked it up, dude.
Like
because they.
This bridged the gap between quote unquote normies and nerds. Like everyone was into this show. You know what I'm saying? And for you to just like fuck this up is kind of amazing to me.
The thing is, I blame no one other than Benioff and Weiss, dude. Like those two, they decided because HBO wanted to do more episodes. They didn't want to end it at season 8 either. They wanted to continue. Like they were happy to keep going.
Okay, so
they could have had as many episodes as they wanted to finish telling the story, and they were like, "No, we can do it in 13." Like, and no, you couldn't do it in 13. You were wrong. Like so. they rushed it because I think they're sick of doing Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
which is fine.
That's
but that doesn't mean all of a sudden you get to do a shitty job. If you're sick of doing it and you're going to do it like this, give it to somebody else who wants to do it. I'm pretty sure
there are plenty of other writers who are like, man,
exactly,
give me this shit.
Dude, like, walk away then. Walk away. Go do something else. Let someone else do this because there are tons of people who could have done this and they would have been so happy to do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
And let me just make the record clear for the petition. Like, people were just saying, even the petition signer was like, I don't expect the fucking season to get remade. I just want to let them know how disgusted I was with this season.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a reasonable criticism. Like, people are like, oh, if you can write, then go write. Like, no, we can criticize art. This is a legitimate piece of art. We can criticize it.
I think it's just a mass showing of dissatisfaction.
Yes.
With the end product we got. And that's fine. Dude, the thing is like, people... Game of Thrones had the potential to be one of the greatest shows ever made.
Yes.
And they couldn't stick the landing. Like, Breaking Bad stuck the landing.
Yeah,
the end of that show is very, very good. Like,
people still watch that show back to back.
And it doesn't feel like it needed anything else added to it. In
5 seasons.
It didn't need a single scene added to it.
Nope.
That show is perfect as it is. And Game of Thrones couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. I think season 7 and 8 being 10 episodes would have done a world of difference. Would have made a world of difference for the show. It got rushed, and we're all lesser for it. I feel like it sucks, dude.
Because you think about
it sucks.
You think about the build up.
Yeah.
It took 3 seasons to get to the Red Wedding. And when it happened, we were just like, what the fuck?
And think about that time of the show, right? Seasons 1 and 2 when Rob's alive and all these characters are alive who have been dead forever. It's like, God, that feels like so long ago. But that was 3 seasons of the show, that part of the show.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, think about where we are now with it. It's like, so much shit happened from seasons 4 through 8, you know?
Yeah, it's like they rushed a lot of shit.
They pushed a lot of shit. They just made a lot of shit happen really fast. This show could have probably gone on 10 seasons and been fine.
Yeah.
There's enough story there to do that, but they didn't want to do it that way.
I mean,
after they ran out of books, I think the thing is, once they ran out of book materials, I think...
But from what I understood, like, each book could have been almost 3 seasons itself.
Mm-hmm. If they really wanted to, they fit books 1, 2, and 3 into... Well, if they fit books 1 and 2 into 2 seasons. And then they fit book 3 into 2 seasons, and then books 4 and 5 were about 2 seasons
each, or
about a season and a half, I guess. Actually,
season each or season?
No, those two together were about a season and a half.
Really?
By season 6, they were off the books almost entirely.
Okay,
like they had completely gone past the books. So the final 3 seasons are all off book, and I don't know. It just didn't. It's just not satisfying, man, when I think about it. Because there's, like, Season 7, I think a lot of people are being harsh to Season 7.
Season 7 was pretty
Season 7 had some moments, some cool moments. Like, that battle in the fields where they were, the Lannister caravan was getting attacked. Daenerys was attacking that caravan. And she brought Drogon. And that was the first time we saw, like, her riding a dragon in battle, in action. That shit was bad ass. That was a great battle episode.
I remember watching it for my first time because I watched it and I was like, "Yo, this is
that
cool."
episode was amazing. And then I'm trying to think of other season 7 moments. Oh, the episode where they went beyond the wall too. That one was hit or miss, but there was some really cool moments in there. Right, getting to see the Night King actually fight something and like throw that javelin at
it made you realize how strong he was.
Exactly, and that's why I was so pissed about the way episode 3 went.
And then all the imagery that he left, and it was just a lot of stuff that showed that he was intelligent. People were trying to say like, oh, maybe he wasn't as intelligent as we thought he was. Like, no, he was an intelligent creature. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
But we just didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah, and maybe he's not capable of speaking. I don't know, but we don't know that, right? We don't even know that. It's like, but he can communicate in other ways. Like, I'm sure he knows how to write.
Yeah, like, I just wanted to know why he was was so gun-ho. Because he could have just stayed north and be like, whatever, I'm just going to stay north. There was no reason for him to come down south. But he just wanted Bran so bad.
Yeah.
Like, he could have went right past that keep and then went straight to King's Landing. But it's
And that episode was really unrealistic, too. The end of it was so dumb and cartoony, where you have singular characters fighting mountains of undead by themselves and somehow not getting killed. Like,
only thing I remember from that episode is Brienne just yelling.
Oh, my God. Yeah, there were like 3 different times where I thought she was dead. And no, it's just her and her battle cries. And then, like, Sam on the ground just, like, screaming, like, things are falling on top of him and he's stabbing them. Like, it was dumb. And then, like, the battle strategy itself, them having the Dothraki run out in the middle of darkness and just die. It was the stupidest thing.
So that was another thing, right? So that happened, and then, obviously, in episode 6, you see a Dothraki, like, doing their thing. Or episode 5, too.
Yeah.
And you're like,
where did all these guys come from?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dude, oh my God. But that was the thing after episode 3, like, where did all the other soldiers come from, too? Because the way they showed it, everybody was dead.
Yeah.
Like, all the people were dead. Like...
I thought the final episode was going to be a battle between the remaining forces of Daenerys and Jon Snow in the north. Like, I thought that was going to happen.
So, yeah, this is what I think about the books. I want to go back to this briefly. This is probably going to be my last point about this. Is I think this is going to play out this way in the books. The thing is, a lot of things they skipped aren't going to get skipped in the books.
Okay.
Like, that whole period of time between Jon killing Daenerys and then the council meeting or whatever, where they decide who the king is going to be, there's a whole period of time where the Unsullied and the Dothraki are occupying King's Landing. That's going to be a couple chapters in the book, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, where an actual battle happens, you know? And it's just like they just skipped it, you know? Like, there's that, and then I think there's going to be more of I feel like there's going to be more of a battle after Daenerys destroys King's Landing, like you said. There's going to be more of I think, in fighting between the two sides after the battle ends, because the Northmen and all the other people that join them are going to be so disgusted with what happened.
Yeah.
Right? They're just going to start fighting, you know?
Because it's just no way that she burned it and then everyone's just looking like, okay. Like, even the Northmen were just like, okay, whatever. Yeah. And I understand, like, they really didn't have a connection with King's Landing, but it's like, I don't know, that was just so unrealistic to me.
Yeah, me too. No, yeah. Yeah, and then Arya, like, dude, what did they even do with Arya in the last 2 episodes?
Nothing. She served her purpose. She killed the Night King.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like. Because, dude, she literally, the only thing she does in the final episode is literally, like, walks up to Jon after Daenerys walks away and is like, man, I recognize a killer when I see one. Oh, really, Arya? No shit. I think everybody noticed her killing everyone from the air on a dragon, like, for hours. No shit. Thanks.
Like, she didn't even describe what she saw.
No, we spent like half the episode with her last week too. Yeah, like this horror show.
I thought she was gonna be the one to convince Jon. Like, listen, this is what I saw. I held kids in my hand that got burned to a crisp and all this shit like that. And another thing, like with Jon, they just made Jon really pussy. Like,
and an idiot.
Oh my!
The fact that he was still defending her after the fact. What?
This goes against everything Ned taught you, bro.
That he stands for, too.
Yeah, man.
That he's always stood for. I don't know. And then, dude, I was thinking last week, I thought in the middle of the destruction that Arya and Jon, like, were both having a realization moment, like, we have to kill her.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to destroy everything. And I thought a lot of, like, the back part of the episode was going to be them, like, struggling to get to her and killing her. Like on Drogon or something like that, or them fighting her on Drogon somehow, you know, like something like that. But no, it didn't even happen that way.
And then even Drogon burning the Iron Throne.
It's a cute moment. It's cute. It's
so,
real cute.
I know even in the show they say that the dragons have intelligence higher than a human.
A book will do that scene way better than the show could, though.
Yeah,
because you can kind of like hint at the creature's intelligence, that it like kind of pauses or whatever. The way they showed it is like I get what they were going for, that Drogon realized the throne is the symbol of her death, like is the reason she died, basically, is because of the Iron Throne, and he destroyed the Iron Throne. But give me a break. He's not going to kill Jon too? Like come on.
It would have been so cool if Jon was maybe standing, he wasn't sitting on the Iron Throne, but just the way he was standing, he killed Daenerys.
Yeah.
Like, he tries to burn them.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to burn Jon. Or even though he's trying not to burn Jon, he knows Jon's a Targaryen. So he burns the throne, but Jon's staying in front of it. And he doesn't get burned because obviously he's a Targaryen.
But I see, the thing is, I think a lot of people feel like he wouldn't have gotten burned, but I think he would have been killed. Like, I think Daenerys was special. Like, I think she was kind of a special person with that. And I don't think other Targaryens are, like, immune to fire.
Okay.
So, I don't know. We've been talking about this for like 35 minutes. We should probably talk about video games again. But I think, point being, it was disappointing. It was a
lot of the character arcs got sacrificed.
Yes. Brienne, what they did to her was horrifying.
Disgusting.
Jamie. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But,
I don't know, man. And then Bronn came out of nowhere at the end. You know what? I'm not
Dude, Master of Coin? Who the fuck in their right mind would make that motherfucker the Master of Coin? I don't give a shit what debt you owe him. The dude blackmailed you and threatened you. You're not going to reward him by making a Master of Coin. The guy's an idiot. He's a fucking mercenary. Master of Coin? What the what? That was one of the dumbest things in the episode. Straight up.
And then even Tyrion not getting his moment, right? They wrote the book, and then he's nowhere mentioned in the book.
That's bullshit. That is a straight... They're trying to be funny with that, and that is the dumbest thing. That is... Forget about Bronn. That's the dumbest thing in the episode, because he's literally been the Hand 3 different times during the war. Like, you're going to mention the Hand of the Seven Kingdoms. Like, you're going to mention him. He's important. I don't give a shit who it is. Like, that person is important. That was a
very... I feel bad for the actor, and I feel bad for the character.
Yeah,
because it was a total steal from both of them.
Yeah, it was a kick in the balls, dude. Like, it's them trying to make a funny joke, and it wasn't a funny joke. It was dumb.
Yeah,
because Tyrion was Hand 3 different times. Like,
I don't think that's going to happen in the books. I think he's going to get
I don't think so either.
Some type of recognition.
That was a very like Lord of the Rings ish end of Lord of the Rings kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
All right.
Point being, we were disappointed.
Sorry, I wasn't more positive, guys. But...
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I think we are all feeling. A lot of us are feeling this right now.
Yeah,
it just sucks to see something you love kind of.
And I came into this last year.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I fell in love with it really quick, and I just felt like I was.
I came in after season 2.
Okay.
And then I read all the books during season 3.
Yeah,
man, dude, what a ride that was.
Mass Effect 3 all over again.
Sad. All right, let's get back to video games.
All right.
Let's get into the news. We're probably going to briefly touch on some of these because I don't know how much I care about a lot of them. Mario Maker 2 got a Nintendo Direct. Okay. That sounded like you were peeing on my floor. Did you drop your water bottle?
No, that's what I thought. I'm like, is it the water?
What was that? Was that on the wall?
The door stopper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That legit. I gotta hear that.
Sounded like ice and water.
I want to hear that in the audio because it sounded like you were peeing.
I was like, what?
Okay. Anyways, man, we're getting derailed. All right, Mario Maker 2 had a Direct. Did you watch it?
No. I didn't even know it was coming.
Do you care?
No.
Okay. I'm going to briefly touch on this then. There was some cool new features. They're adding a story mode to Mario Maker. They're adding a whole bunch of new things you can use within making levels. Other than that, I don't know how much I care. But the game's coming in June.
Okay,
so
sounds
coming
good.
Soon, but I was hoping for something else from this. Oh, did you see the thing that came out of it, though? They're coming out with these stupid digital vouchers that you can buy. So you can buy these digital vouchers, 2 of them, for $100.
What?
And you can use them to buy any digital game for free on the Nintendo store. So you can get, like, Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, games that came out, like, 2 years ago.
Why would you want that?
Because the games cost $60, right? Generally.
Yeah.
So each voucher is $50, so you're saving $10 on any games you buy at $60. The thing is, the stupid part about this is that physical video games exist.
Yeah.
And they depreciate in price. Even Nintendo games.
Yeah.
As much as Nintendo games tend to hold their value for a long time. Like, I'm sure you can get Breath of the Wild for less than $50 now.
Yeah, I got it when I got it for Christmas, it was for $40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, Nintendo does weird things sometimes. Why don't you just put your games on sale every now and then, like everyone else does?
Because they try to keep their stuff, man.
I don't get it. It's dumb. Anyways, all right. Following up a story last week, Riot Games walkout happened. However, the deadline that was set by the group that was walking out came and went, and Riot did not change their stance on forced arbitration. This was a rather disappointing kind of thing that came out of this, because I mean the thing is they can't like sue them for having a sexist work environment or things like that. Like things that Riot does, they're protected against it. The second you sign the contract and you enter the company and start working for the company, your ability to make them accountable for their actions goes out the window. And I'm just going to say this briefly. I don't understand how this shit is legal, frankly. The fact that you can put in a contract that you work for us, we own you basically. Like you can't attack us if we do something wrong to you. Like obviously there's limits to that, but
I think it took advantage of a lot of people's ability or a lot of people's excitement to work in the game company, because you're working for a cool company, this game company and League of Legends and stuff like that, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll sign anything, just get me in the door.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of game companies actually do that because they know how hard it is to get inside of a major studio. And yeah, I mean, this sucks. I don't like this at all. I don't like any company. I don't even know, like you said, I don't know how it's legal. I don't even know why.
Because, dude, if an employee did something to Riot, you know they fucking hell to high water, they sue the shit out of that person, ruin their fucking life. You know, it's like it's just. To me, it's like it's just a level of garbage. The level of garbage you can put into a contract and hold people to is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I just think it's absurd. Like it's stupid. Like
I just don't like. Yeah, like I just don't like the whole sexist environment thing. I think that honestly, man, like we're trying to like normal layman gamers like me and you are trying to get rid of that stigma that gamers are sexist, racist, and stuff like that. But this kind of enforces that with a company that's like, yo, we are this, but we're not going to admit it. Like we're not going to say anything. And I don't know, man. It's like a real slap in the face to everybody, in my opinion.
But yeah, let me read exactly what this does. Employees at Riot waive their right to get any lawsuit against the company in front of a jury. I mean, that's insane. That's pure insanity.
Doesn't it violate some kind of amendment or something like that?
Apparently not, because this is a fairly common thing. Like, dude,
wow.
A lot of companies do this to their employees, and to me, it's like completely ridiculous. Like, employees should be the first person able to hold a company accountable. You work for them. You see what they do on the inside. You know, it's crazy to me. It's absolutely insane. So I don't know. Like Riot gave some lip service about we don't want to change our policy during active litigation because they have an active lawsuit, you know, and it would probably affect that.
Yeah.
Whatever. That company, they're becoming like grosser and grosser by the minute every week, dude. Like something's coming out about them. So I don't know. I feel for all the people that work there. Like I
feel like it's under the table too. It's under the radar because they aren't like a major. They are major, but they aren't like a EA or something like that. You know?
Yeah, they're major in a different sense.
Exactly.
Like, they're not constantly in. They're not constantly in people's. They're not constantly in the news cycle because they're not releasing new games.
Exactly.
That's what gets in the news cycle. Like League of Legends is in the news cycle, but it's not usually related to
it's like
the
esports,
company itself.
Yeah.
It's usually like events or things like that. So
yeah,
I feel for the people working there, and honestly, all the people walking out, like, dude, I totally support what they're doing. Like,
same.
Like fight for your rights. Like, you know, it's gross that they can put that over their employees. All right, let's move on. Next story, Sony and Microsoft announced a partnership for cloud gaming and content streaming solutions. So this was a weird story. I think you put this in the doc,
yeah, I did.
Right?
That's why it was such a weird...
You want to explain kind of what's going on here?
I mean, so, you know about... I won't even fucking load up for me, unfortunately. But briefly touching on it, like, cloud gaming pretty much... I believe Sony is going to be using some of Microsoft's, like, servers and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And... that's pretty much like from what I gathered from it. Like they plan on using like Azure based solutions for Sony content and streaming. Mm-hmm. I don't believe this is going to solve our cross platforming thing that we got going on. But I believe Sony or Microsoft will have a cut in whatever Sony makes on said platform. So I think this is what the partnership is more of a business partnership.
It seems weird. It's like it seems like an infrastructure partnership.
Yeah.
Almost like Sony's going to use Microsoft's infrastructure to kind of host some of their services.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I don't think it's nothing like... I think it's more so on the company side benefit, not a gamer's benefit type
Yeah, I
deal.
mean, I just saw this making the rounds, and I didn't really... it didn't seem like a story that's going to affect their gaming division very much.
No, it's not.
And I almost feel like it was being... I mean, even in the headline here, like, partnership for cloud gaming, right? Like...
It looks like it's being pushed for that, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like...
That doesn't seem to be the primary reason they did this, though.
Yeah.
So, this kind of smacks of like a minor story. Like, I don't think much is really going to come out of this that's going to affect consumers.
Nope.
Right?
That's why I put it on there, because I just wanted people to know, like, this is not, we're going to get cross-platform stuff. Like, no,
I don't think that's what that is.
This
I
is
mean,
just,
maybe if they build a relationship with one another, it could lead to that down the road.
For some cloud,
maybe.
Yeah, for like maybe cloud exclusive games or something like that. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just strictly infrastructure type deal.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's move on to this story. Jason Schreier broke another story this weekend about Call of Duty. The 2020 iteration of Call of Duty seems to be in some trouble. Apparently, the Raven and Sledgehammer, which are the teams that have been working on this iteration of the game, have been completely taken off the project.
What the hell?
Like, they're not going to be in charge of the project anymore, and now Treyarch is going to be leading development of Black Ops. And Treyarch has made all the Black Ops games. Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Infinity Ward made Ghosts, Infinite Warfare, and it looks like the 2019 Call of Duty that's coming out this year is also being made by them. Sledgehammer made Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty World War II, rather. Those are the last two they've made in 2014. So, for people who don't know, Activision has a 3-studio kind of rotation for the teams that make these games. They take about 3 years to make a game, to make one of these Call of Duty games. Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer, they've been doing this for almost 10 years now. They've kind of been cycling between these 3 studios, and they've all made their own iterations. Treyarch has been the Black Ops one, and those are the ones that seem to be the most well-received from my perspective as somebody who doesn't play this franchise.
So, I mean, I played the franchise. I can give my input, I guess, on that.
But Infinity Ward is the one I think people like the least. Like, Ghosts and Infinite Warfare, people did not like.
Yeah, so what happened, it kind of switched. So, this whole cycle actually started in, like, 2007.
But Treyarch wasn't involved till Black Ops 1. Right?
Correct.
That was the first
No.
game
Actually, they, like I said, it started in 2007. So, or 2008.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare came out, and then I believe the next game after that was World at War, which is Treyarch's game. That was a World War II game where you fought primarily against the Japanese, and you fought in the Pacific.
Okay.
That game was iffy. Like, people liked it, some people didn't like it, and then Modern Warfare 2 came out, which is an Infinity War game, and then Black Ops 2 came out. And then Modern Warfare 3 is when Infinity War kind of fell off their neck. Like, everyone was like, okay, now you guys are starting to be trash. And Treyarch started to take the hit Sledgehammer, especially with Black Ops 2, because Black Ops 2 was well received by everybody.
Yeah.
And then Ghost was really put them in the can. Everyone was like, this game's terrible. It was literally a carbon copy remake. This campaign was literally a carbon copy remake of Modern Warfare 2.
What?
Yes, and they just put different scenarios in there. But people did scene by scenes. They rehashed the scenes, reused the mocap. The same exact scenes happened.
Like characters, like they just put like different models over in environments?
Yes. Exactly.
That's super weird, dude.
And then Advanced Warfare tried something new, which is
Sledgehammer. That one, I remember that one being
controversial.
It was controversial, but obviously it was coming off Ghost, so I think it had the benefit of having a bad game come before it, so people liked it somewhat.
Yep. And then they did this. That started like the vertical movement, and then
with the double jumping and wall running and shit, right?
It had a wall run, it just had it had a boost.
But you had a lot more mobility.
Yeah, you had like a jetpack, and then Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I want to say that's when they started the whole. They kind of perfected the boosting, and I think it had some wall running, I believe, and stuff like that. And then Infinite Warfare
was in space.
It was in space. It's like a mixed bag with that one too, because a lot of people love the campaign.
Well, Kit Harington was the villain, right?
Yeah,
Jon Snow.
Yeah. It was a mixed bag. People liked the campaign a lot, but the multiplayer was like left to be desired.
Yeah.
And then World War II, obviously,
that was the one that had loot boxes.
Yeah. And then Black Ops 4. That's the one with the
Blackout.
No campaign, straight multiplayer. So obviously that one, I didn't play that one, unfortunately, or fortunately rather. I stopped playing Call of Duty around Black Ops 2. That was my last one when I stopped.
So like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I've never played a Call of Duty game, and I never plan on it. So
yeah.
This series has never appealed to me. I think it's the worst aspects of first-person shooters.
It is.
All into one package.
Yeah, they lost their creativity around Black Ops 2, in my opinion.
I just have no interest in these games. It's like everything wrong with gaming in one game.
Yeah.
Microtransactions, annualization, like this focus on unrealistic, like, movement and everything because it's fast and
that's why I said like Black Ops 2 and before that they didn't have that. They just had like some futuristic stuff like this is in 2020 and this is the drones like that we may be using at that time. I thought that was pretty cool, and it didn't go over the top. Your movement was everything was kind of balanced, and then obviously it just went off the rails.
Dude, I just remember when Black Ops 4 came out this past year, I watched it for a while because I was interested in the Battle Royale.
Yeah.
And, like, I wanted to see what it was like. And, dude, I just remember watching streamers play that game, and I'm like, the movement in this game is so fucking it's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's always been a Twitch shooter.
Dude, like, the game, like, you scale like a chain link fence that's taller than you in, like, less than half a second.
Yeah.
It's just completely absurd. Like, there's no realism to the game at all.
Yeah, I kind of switched to Battlefield between. I was playing both of them. I was a hardcore fan of both of them for a while, and then after 2012, when Black Ops 2 came out, that's when I just switched all the way to Battlefield.
Yeah. Are you concerned? Do you care about any of these upcoming Call of Duties? Or?
No, I stopped caring about Call of Duty because they're all the same to me. Yeah. Like, to be honest with you,
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I've never played one, never plan on playing one.
Yeah,
it's just interesting to see that this game is like in trouble. It's weird. It's like, is it that bad? Like,
no,
it kind of makes me wonder if
Black Ops 4 is so like over $500 million or something like that the first weekend, and Activision's like, yeah, that's a total failure for us.
They're crazy.
Yeah, man.
But dude, though, it's like it makes me wonder if we're in for some upheaval with the studios. Like, are they going to close one of these and
I think so.
Make a new one? Maybe.
I think Sledgehammer's going to go because I mean their last 2 games they made
have been bad.
Advanced Warfare wasn't anything to write about, and World War II was the one with loot boxes and stuff like that. The
sales decline started with Ghosts, right?
Yep.
Like the sales kind of started going down.
Yep, and then they picked up with Black Ops 3. That kind of brought it back to the forefront, and then
World War II.
Yeah, Infinite Warfare and World War II didn't sell as well.
But then Black Ops 4 was good again, even though they didn't feel like it was.
Yeah, they didn't feel like it was.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, dude, when you do a series for 13 years in a row or 14 years in a row, like...
I tell everybody, though, they did this with Tony Hawk. When they got the license for Tony Hawk, there was a Tony Hawk game coming out every year, or almost every couple months, it seemed like. Yeah. It was Tony Hawk 1, 2, 3, 4, Pro Skater... or Underground 1, 2, 3, 4, and it got ridiculous, and then that franchise just died.
Yeah, but do you think we are witnessing the beginning of the end of Call of Duty?
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna. I think there's gonna be maybe 2 more games next generation. That's it.
You think so?
Yeah, man.
Man, it's just become so like ubiquitous with gaming and it comes out every year in November or October. It's like,
this is the game that took down Halo. So
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's such a big franchise, despite everything I dislike about it. It is a big franchise, though, and it's like, it's been around for a long time. It's well established. Like, I just don't see it going away.
I think they would cut it down to one studio.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? Do you think they'll stop annualizing it and they'll kind of do what Ubisoft did and be like, look, we're gonna take some time, really make this next one good.
Yes,
you know.
I think they need to
stop
do that.
annualizing it.
Yeah.
Well, EA needs to do the same thing with Madden.
I get the feeling that the studios kind of want to do that.
But dude, if Activision does that, though, I mean, dude, they're kind of in trouble, right? Like losing Destiny last year, and then if Call of Duty's not doing as well, and then Blizzard's getting destroyed.
What was interesting though is Activision has been putting their fingers in like a lot of other games.
Well, Sekiro,
they had, and then but they've been going to like a lot of Japanese studios for like little things. I think Sekiro was like their first big project because they did for Platinum Games. I don't know if you remember this, but it was the Legend of Korra game, which I liked. It was glitchy as fuck, but they did do that, they got Platinum Games B Team to make that game.
Okay,
so I think they were trying to dibble and dabble with other franchises,
kind of experimenting.
Yeah, and I think Sekiro was like their first big hit, and I think they're going to actually start publishing other Japanese games to bring it over here.
It's kind of fascinating, right? Like Sekiro. I know it's fun. Like obviously, every publisher wants From probably to make them a Soulsborne game.
Yeah,
you know. But the fact that Activision like did it though is really fascinating to me. It makes me wonder what they thought of the sales of that game because it sold like
really well. Yeah, for a single player game.
But that's for a single player Japanese game.
Exactly.
Like compared to Call of Duty, it didn't sell well at all. Like it sold nothing. Like it was
I'm pretty sure they got
million copies.
I'm pretty sure they got their money back and then some.
Yeah, it depends on. Yeah, it really depends on how much they put into it, I guess, and how big the team was that made the game.
They probably looking at how big that niche market is for Japanese games. So I mean, you got Atlas making a ton of money off Persona games. You got
Persona, man.
You got Square Enix making a ton of money off their RPG.
Fantasy,
So they probably looking for their Japanese, get into the Japanese market, in my opinion. And I feel like Sekiro was a good thing for them, like to just jump into.
Well, the fact that it was a success, probably was a good thing. For them.
I feel like a lot of other companies are going to start low key doing that. I think Ubisoft is really going to try to jump into the Japanese market.
The industry got weirdly afraid of Japanese games. For a long time.
Yes.
And
well, you remember the industry, especially like Capcom.
Yeah.
They did that whole shift where they were trying to be like westernized. Like everything was trying to be.
They lost their style for a while.
Exactly. And I think it was Call of Duty. Everybody wanted Call of Duty numbers, man.
Dude, Call of Duty. World of Warcraft and Call of Duty are two games whose effects reverberate to this day. It's crazy, dude.
It's scary, actually.
It's insane how big of an impact they had on the industry because they legitimized video games from a financial standpoint in a way they never had been before.
Exactly.
You know, like they became juggernauts.
Even to this day, I mean, I'll say to a degree, Activision with Destiny.
Yeah. Well, that was the next one. That was kind of the next big one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're still seeing the effects of that with games coming out like Anthem and, Division 2 and all these other ones.
And I feel like it's going to be perfected next generation, but like...
Yeah.
This right now was just like a stepping stone for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the simple fact that Activision pulled out of it is kind of like mind-boggling to me. Like... Maybe they don't see. Maybe it's too much money to just keep this live service thing going. It's too hard to monetize. And
it is. It takes a huge investment too.
Yeah,
it's like an MMO.
Yeah,
MMOs were a huge investment, and everybody wanted one once World of Warcraft became popular. And then they all realized how much effort they had to put in to actually make it successful. It's like not worth it, dude. It's not worth it unless you really want to make one.
Yeah, and Destiny's definitely not worth it to be subscription based.
Yeah,
like
it's not nothing. There's not enough there for that game to be subscription based.
If they had it, in my opinion, they should have went after the subscription based model, but they had to put a lot of effort into it. It would have been like a 7-year project. A legitimate 7-year project, my bad.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Next story. This is kind of a short one. It's been reported that Nippon Ichi Software, which is NIS, the company that makes the Disgaea games, they make a bunch of niche JRPGs.
Which is very funny because they're very popular among the JRPG.
They are. They've had a kind of a bad generation though financially. Like their games have not been doing well.
Yeah.
And, dude, Disgaea hasn't come out in a while. Like Disgaea 5 was a while ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago now. It has been reported that they are struggling to pay their workers, which I find
egregious.
Kind of. Well, it's terrible, first of all.
Yeah.
It's awful. But it's kind of unfortunate because, dude, I go way back with NIS, man. Like, I played... The first of the Sky is, like, one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
And it's, like, kind of sad to see this company, like, having some rough times. The problem is the games they make are way too similar to each other.
Yeah.
And they're not fun. Like, they're really grindy. They're all the same. They're all super grindy RPGs.
Yeah.
That aren't super... They're not fun, and their stories are never anything interesting.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't have a lot to them to appeal.
Yeah, because I didn't. To be honest with you, I couldn't get into Disgaea.
I haven't played
Disgaea.
I haven't played the Disgaea since 4 came out on Vita.
I just don't like Laharl. Like he's not an appealing character.
But he's only in the first game.
Okay.
All the other ones don't even have he's in it, but he's like a bonus side character you can get like super late in the game.
Okay, I didn't know
he's not part of the story. The first game, he's the main character of the first game.
Yeah, that's the one I played.
They made this guy D2, which is like a sequel to the first game. They made that at the end of the PS3 generation. He was that was a follow up to the first game, so he's the main character of that as well. All the other ones though, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's not in those games.
Okay,
like, he's not a character in those games. Generally, there might be cameos here and there, but they're not like he's just not that. He's not an important character. So if you like the game, I'd recommend you trying some of the other ones.
Okay,
they all have different casts and they're all equally goofy. I think this guy won. I actually love Laharl. I think that game is fantastic. Like, I actually think that story is really well done. It's funny. It's a weird thing because did you ever beat the game?
No, I didn't beat it.
How far did you get in it?
I probably put like 15 hours into it.
Okay, so you probably got through like at best half the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is later in the game he matures a lot, and he becomes a lot more tolerable of a character. Early on, he's just kind of an asshole, annoying brat. Yeah. That's kind of the point, but over the course of the game, things happen, and he learns things, and dude, it's a fun game because it's really a funny game. There's a lot of funny moments in the game, but he has a lot of growth within that, though. Like, there's a serious undercurrent to the game, interestingly enough. And I think it's really well done. So I'd actually recommend you play it again. I will say the version I would recommend is probably the Vita remake.
Okay.
Don't play the PS2 version.
All right.
The DS one maybe, but I wouldn't really recommend that either.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just sad to see NIS having some tough times because I have some memories of them. The thing that it kind of epitomizes them for me is this game called God, what was it called? It was like Cross. I can't remember it. It was like a PS3 game, and it was like a mashup of all their franchises. It was this awful JRPG, grindy JRPG. It was a terrible game. So I don't know. That's just like what I think of NIS now. Is like they have like one good franchise in Disgaea, and then everything else is just not worth it. I think you want to skip this next story.
Wait, is Sony going to make movies? Yeah, that's stupid.
I don't want to talk about this. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to release dates. Let's see. There's one I want to talk about. The other ones I'm just going to blast through real quick. So we missed this last week. Ghost Recon Breakpoint was revealed. This is a sequel to Wildlands. It's going to be available October 4th. I didn't play Wildlands. Did you ever play it?
No, it didn't look appealing to me. It
yeah,
did because it broke away from like what I knew Ghost Recon to be.
Yeah.
And it was open world, and I'm tired of open world shit.
Yeah. And they're doing that again here, but you, I think you have to play co-op.
Oh, okay.
If you want to do certain things, which is kind of controversial.
I just like the level-based thing in the old Call of Duty franchises. Call of Duty. The old Ghost Recon franchises, because they were more tactical.
Yeah.
The levels were more like you had to approach them in certain styles, certain ways, or you can do them in different ways, but it was just really cool. Mm-hmm. And the multiplayer on those was really cool as well. But yeah, when I looked at Wildlands, I was just like, They're like, oh man, this is gonna be open world. You can do this, and one thing you affect something on the entire of the map. I'm like, bro, can we just get back to like linear games,
Dude,
man?
Linear shooters were fun,
bro. You remember? I don't know if you remember this game, but it was on Xbox. So I don't know. I don't think you're playing it Xbox like that. This game called Black, like, bro, and it was just like you had this. You were just like blowing shit up. It was like fucking Michael Bay on steroids. But the gun animation, reload animations were so like well precise, and like the sound quality was really good. They put a lot of effort into like how you shoot the gun, each gun, how it's shot, and it was just such a satisfying game.
Do you remember early PS3 Xbox 360 game? I don't know if it was exclusive to PS3 or not, but the Darkness.
Oh yeah,
the game where you had those like two heads coming out of you.
Yes.
I never played it. I watched my brother play through most of the game though, and I remember that game like was really fascinating to me. I thought that game was like super cool when I was younger.
It was. I played it. It was really cool.
People hated that game at the time, but like I like look back on it now and I'm like, where did those go? Games like that. Where it's just like a linear.
They all fell to the Call of Duty thing.
So yeah.
They all
sucks,
all those games fell to the Call of Duty thing. Like I feel like Halo almost fell to it as well. Yeah. But like I don't know, man. Like at least like Time Splitters. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! Like that when that game came on PS2, that game was so cool.
But yeah, this series, like Wildlands, to me just looked like Just Cause with the squad.
Exactly,
it's like what it looked like to me. Yeah. I was like, I don't like Just Cause.
I did enjoy watching on Twitch when they had the Alien vs Predator or the Predator thing. That was really cool. But I think they should have made that like its own little separate game because a lot of people enjoyed that shit. Yeah.
All right, next game. So I think I might have brought this up mistakenly a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you did.
That the free DLC had come out on the Switch. I think it came out on PC.
Oh,
and I mistakenly said it came out on Switch. It's actually the free DLC update for Dead Cells Rise of the Giant is coming to Switch. I think it's coming to Switch on the 23rd of May.
Yeah.
So this week. So you should be able to check that out soon. Apologies for saying it was coming out before. That was my bad, everybody. Okay, moving on. The last one, this is kind of minor. Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human are becoming Epic Store exclusives on PC. So this isn't like these games. I don't really care about these games in and of themselves. This is a big deal though because this is the confirmation that Quantic Dream is kind of breaking off their exclusivity from Sony.
Yeah,
they've been exclusive to Sony with all three of these games. And it seems like that relationship has soured, and they're kind of going to go in their own direction now. So Heavy Rain is going to be coming on June 24th, I think, with a demo a month beforehand. Beyond Two Souls is going to be coming out July 22nd with a demo about a month beforehand. And then Detroit Become Human doesn't have a date yet, but it's coming sometime in the fall. So, if you're looking forward to those, if you like those games, or you were thinking about those games, but you didn't have a PS4, well, you'll be able to get them on PC soon. All right, last one. This is the big one that I cared about. This is probably going to be like a topic of the show-ish topic. World of Warcraft Classic got dated, and it's coming August 27th.
You gotta finish everything before that date.
It had a beta that is going on now. I believe you need a current World of Warcraft subscription to get into the beta, so I didn't sign up.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But I'm going to be honest, I'm already sick of the conversation surrounding this game. Already. Within a week.
Why?
I'm so tired of it already. Because all these fucking cute little stories came out of people, like, did you see the story? Like, people were reporting bugs that were features back in vanilla, and then all these people on Twitter with all these fucking streamers are playing this game, like, oh my god, it's fucking, I got the 30 guys, like, it took me, like, 3 days, or however many days, or whatever, and it's like, I'm not looking forward to when this actually goes live and everybody gets their hands on it and all these little babies are going to be like, God, I can't find a group automatically? What the fuck? Oh, my character doesn't turn as fast? Oh, what the hell? Why did Taran have a bigger fucking hitbox? Like, that's dumb. Like, I'm not looking forward to this.
So people are complaining about it being
things
vanilla?
that were features, not features, but they just were things that were part of vanilla. People are reporting them as bugs because they're not used to them being in, like, they're not in the current version of World of Warcraft. And the annoying part is the way Blizzard is doing things. They are so... They listed this list of things that aren't bugs, and it's super snarky. They're like, hey, everybody, you don't remember this game the way you thought you did. These things aren't bugs. They're just part of vanilla. And then at the end, they're like, you know, there was something at the bottom. I don't remember what it was, but they were like, yeah, this isn't a bug. This is an intentional feature. You know, and they're like, they just seem so snarky about it because I feel like internally they want this to fucking fail for some god unknown reason. I think part of me thinks they're like offended that people hate current World of Warcraft.
Well, yeah, it's the current team.
Yeah, and it's like, guys, get over it because I'm telling you, this shit is gonna be huge. Like, this is gonna be bigger than any of their shit now. It's going to have more subscribers probably than current World of Warcraft does for a while. Maybe it won't settle there.
Yeah, it won't settle there permanently.
But it's going to launch and be big. Dude, it's going to launch and be real big.
Well,
like,
this is such a big deal because you got people who haven't played World of Warcraft in like, 10 years?
There were people that haven't ever played World of Warcraft.
And they're like, yo, I'm about to jump into this shit.
They weren't born when it came out.
Yeah.
Probably a bunch of 15-years. There's 18-years that were like 3 when
yeah,
World of Warcraft came out.
What I'm saying is you got people, the reason why this is going to be major and it's not going to go anywhere, because you shut the private servers now, the dedicated servers, the progression servers, and you got people like me, you, and other people who are just like, yeah, I'm about to jump back into this shit. Like, they're like legitimately waiting for this shit. Like, yo, I am really about to jump back into it.
The thing that's really annoying me is all the people who are so positive that all of us who want vanilla World of Warcraft don't actually want vanilla World of Warcraft. There were all these comments like, man, you don't actually want vanilla WoW. You just want to have the time to play vanilla WoW. Like, it's like, no. I want to play vanilla WoW. Like, fuck, stop telling me I don't want this game. I'm so sick of everybody telling me I don't want this fucking game. Like, I want this game. You don't want this game. Go away. I don't want you here. Like, go away. I don't want you to play this game. I'm like, seriously, I don't want all these fucking kids. I don't want all these people who are like happy with current World of Warcraft. I don't want any of you playing this game because all you're gonna do is complain. All you're gonna do is complain, talk shit about this game. Go away. Go play current WoW if it's so fucking fun. Then
you know, like, it's funny. There's another MMO that's not as large scale, but it did have an impact. On pop culture. Yeah. RuneScape.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, so RuneScape.
Well, it's still around, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still around.
Yeah.
They have a newer version of it, but everyone's subscribed to play the older version. There's the older version on your cell phone now. Yeah. And a lot of people play it on their cell phones. Yeah. I play it on my cell phone. I'm like, yo, this is wow. I remember when I was in 8th grade, man. This shit was cool. Like, yeah, man. And I don't think... Like, the name of the company that made it, I think it's called Jaggeds, and they didn't get offended by it. They're like, oh, we actually love that people love the older games, so we loved it.
Yeah, and Blizzard's the opposite. They seem super offended.
Because I think it's a newer team.
Grow up. I don't care. Dude, if you want me to play current World of Warcraft, make it a fun game. Yeah. Make it a fun game. Because it's not a fun game. It doesn't. There's nothing about current World of Warcraft that is remotely appealing. There's no talent trees. Dude, they've taken out like almost any of the character customization the game ever had. Like,
bro, you know, the last time I even heard of World of Warcraft was like the Cataclysm event.
Pandaria. Panda Land. That's probably the last time you heard of it.
Well, the last time I remember it having an impact on anything. Yeah. When they're like, oh, man, we're changing the environments. We're doing this. It was the Cataclysm event.
Well, dude, I've been seeing this thing going around because they had the cinematic that they made, like Thrall's coming back.
Yeah.
It's like Thrall left for like 3 expansions and went and lived in like some fairyland, to have a family or whatever. He wanted to be a family man, like Guile. And he apparently is like coming back now. Like he's got to like save everybody again because he's Thrall. And it's like they're like so desperate to get people to play. They're trying to get old players to come back and play because Thrall's cool.
Yeah,
like,
was that the Battle for Azeroth?
Yeah, that's the current expansion. Yeah, and dude, it's like. I just like reading about there was an article I was reading where this guy was detailing his experience of the beta, and he was a current WoW player that played vanilla.
Yeah. And
he was saying that it's very bittersweet for him because he doesn't actually find vanilla fun in like the way it's implemented, because it actually is, to Blizzard's credit, it's actually really. Like he says that he thinks it's very authentic. Like it feels like vanilla did.
Yeah.
It plays like vanilla did. It's very slow. It's plotting. It's hard. Like leveling is slow. It's like, and a lot of the features from the game, like you don't have all the quest markers on your map. Like that stuff's not in the game. Like, and he's like, I don't enjoy this. However, I enjoy the experience around this because I'm like forced to interact with other players because some things are difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas now I don't have to interact with anybody to play World of Warcraft because the game is so easy. Everything around the game is so easy.
Yeah.
I just queue for a dungeon and I go to the dungeon and nobody says anything to anybody and we all just face roll the dungeon and that's the end of it. And then I go face roll a few quests by myself because I don't have to talk to anybody. And it's like,
I came in Burning Crusade, but the dungeon queue was very janky.
Yeah.
So
there was no dungeon queue in Burning Crusade. That was introduced in Wrath.
Yeah, okay. But I did come in Burning Crusade, and I did stop playing, then I came back with Wrath. But you're right. Yeah. It was no dungeon queue in Burning Crusade. Mm-hmm. So, I just remember, just having to talk to people. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking talk to people, but I got to talk to people because people are toxic at the time. But
dude, I was the same way. And, I was the kind of player, I didn't want to talk to anybody, but, dude, I would play vanilla like... I would make twinks. This is what my favorite part of vanilla was. I would make these twink characters like that were super powerful. Like I'd put like high level enchantments on all their gear and shit.
Yeah.
And like spend thousands of gold just getting items, like bunch of blue items, epic items that are like world drops or whatever. And I would get all this shit, and then I would try to play everything solo. Like I would like make it. I would like try to do all the elite quests by myself. Like I would do. Dude, the thing is that it was achievable, like that way.
Yeah.
Like I actually was capable of doing quests that weren't supposed to be done by yourself by myself, and it was super fun because it was really hard. It wasn't easy to do. Like even super twinked out, it wasn't easy. So.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, I had a friend that I played with, dude. We would twink our characters out. Like, I remember we played on the Horde, and I was a rogue, and he was a warrior. And we would two-man dungeons. The two of us, with no healer. Like, we would two-man dungeons while we're leveling. That's the kind of shit that I would do in vanilla. And...
but that took effort, though.
It took a severe amount of effort, like a ridiculous amount of effort. And it's probably not worth the time, like the time investment. But, dude, those are my memories of vanilla. I didn't really do raiding in vanilla. I did some dungeons and stuff and high-level content, but...
I don't know, man. It's just the whole feeling like exploration that I got.
But, dude, yeah, running into people when you're questing, where you would just group together, that is fun. Like, I didn't avoid that stuff if it kind of came naturally. You know, I wasn't, like, seeking it out necessarily. But if somebody was next to me struggling, and, like, they were getting mobbed by 3 enemies and they were going to die, like, I'd go help them out.
Yeah.
You know? It's like...
I just remember that. I remember like some low level quests where you had to take care of a boss, and it was like, "Oh, we recommend you level with somebody or you go with somebody."
Yeah.
And I would run to the area. You see like 2 other people just standing there, like, "Man, I don't know if I can do this." Hey, you want to level? You want to party up real quick?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We group up, do it, and then we'll become friends and still level with each other, or we'll just go our separate ways. But the part that really stood out for me, which I think is lost in the new World of Warcraft and current MMOs as well, was the world was just so explorable. Like,
dude, oh my god, like it was so fun to you just find quests in a cave.
Yeah,
like, you just run into a cave and there'd be a quest giver in there.
Yeah,
like there'd be a guy that you have to rescue or something.
Yeah,
like,
and it was just in the most mundane parts of the map.
Dude, like that was the other thing is like when you went into a cave in World of Warcraft in a vanilla. Like, dude, you had to, like, And again, this article brought this up, was like, dude, early game in a cave, like, he goes into an early game cave and he's like, I actually have to, like, think about how I'm going to tackle this. Like, what direction I'm going to go, what mobs I'm going to try to avoid, like, what sections of the area I'm going to actually try to fight two at once, you know? And he's like, current WoW, I never have to do that. And it's like, that's kind of my point, like, about World of Warcraft. What is the point of the game anymore? I almost want to go play it just to see what it's like, because
I think they got like a weekly trial. We should do that, like a weekly trial.
Dude, because I played briefly before Warlords of Draenor came out, which is the 5th expansion. Yes, the 5th expansion after Cataclysm. Or no, after Mr. Pandaria, actually. Yeah, after Mr. Pandaria. And I was like excited about it because I was going to go back to Warcraft 2 times.
Yeah.
And I was like interested in the lore element of it. And I spun WoW back up for like a month and played it for like 2 weeks. And I leveled from 80 to 100, I think was the current level cap. Or
in
something
2
like
weeks?
That. Yeah, well, that's my point. It's so easy to level in World of Warcraft, even back then. And, dude, it was like, I went through all the Mists of Pandaria content and the Cataclysm content, and, my God. There were no talent trees anymore. Like, they took talent trees out by that point. And
that's what I remember. I do remember
it was
talent
literally
trees.
just every, like, 10 levels you pick an ability.
Really?
Yeah. That was it.
Because I haven't played since...
That was the character customization.
I haven't played since Wrath of the Lich King.
I don't know this, but I would wager it's even worse now. The guy in the article was saying he was playing a paladin, and he was like, man, I actually have to, like, manage my seals and my judgments and all this stuff, and it's like, apparently they don't have any of those things in the game anymore. They just put them in other abilities, like, and it's like, I mean, that's the point. Like, what... When you take those things away from a paladin, they're not a paladin anymore. They're like a warrior that uses holy spells. Like, it's like, Blizzard's philosophy with World of Warcraft always frustrated me, because they did this stuff a lot where they would, like, take abilities away from classes and, like, fold the damage that ability generated into other abilities to, like, streamline the gameplay. And it's just a mistake, because you just dumb the game down. Like, you're making the game, like, easier to play, which inherently makes it more accessible, but you're taking the challenge away. You know, it's like, if I have to press 2 buttons to kill things rather than 5 buttons to kill things, I'd rather have the 5 buttons. If it's fun, I'd rather have the 5 buttons, you know? I like complexity over simplicity, personally. You know, that's the kind of player I am, generally speaking. Obviously, I don't want complexity for complexity's sake.
Yeah.
Like, if it needs to make sense. That's the thing, though. It made sense in World of Warcraft. The complexity made sense in World of Warcraft, you know? It's like, there was a reason for all these skills.
Well,
like,
they kind of modeled it after, like, a Dungeons and Dragons-esque type deal.
Yeah, they took EverQuest and made it accessible.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you think about it, at the time, World of Warcraft was viewed as an extremely easy MMO. But when you look at it now, vanilla World of Warcraft compared to modern MMOs is an extremely difficult game for a lot of people. I bet, dude, there are going to be thousands of people who play vanilla when it comes out on the 27th of August. And they're going to be like, God, this game's impossible. This game's so hard. I can't even fight 3 enemies at once. This is garbage. And it's like, nah, that's kind of the game, though. Like, this isn't even that hard. Like, try to play EverQuest, dude. You can't even fight one thing by yourself. Forget about fucking 3. Like,
shit, that game doesn't even have a fucking like, it has a respawn, but you can lose all your gear when you die, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I don't know. I never played EverQuest. Jet did, so you would know. But yeah, it's like, that's why I'm looking forward to this, but I'm not at the same time. I'm really not looking forward to all the people who are going to come in to look at this and then get their snarky comment and leave.
It's definitely going to be a hater type deal.
Yeah.
I was talking about this recently. Like, I put it on my Twitter, but I was talking about this recently with the old school games. Well, not old school games, but games that came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Sonic came to mind with me because someone actually took the time out their day to remake Sonic 06. They completely remastered it.
Okay.
And they fixed a lot of things that were going on with it. That game actually plays a lot better now. I downloaded it and everything.
Interesting.
And it was, in my opinion, the the Sonic Adventure 3 that should have been.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted Sonic Adventure 3. But the game, a lot of people who play it now, a lot of Sonic fans, they were used to the boost mechanic, the boost to win mechanic, which is you press X and you go very fucking fast. But the whole problem I used to have with that, especially in Generations, even though that's considered a good game, I had a problem with the modern Sonic because the way he controlled like fucking molasses when things slowed down. Like, you did not have control of him because he was designed to go fast in this linear path.
Well,
so
I feel like Sonic's always been that way, but that's just me.
No, well, in not Generations, but
those games are about constant momentum. They always have been.
Well,
maybe it's worse in Generations. I don't know. I haven't played it. But I'm thinking about the old ones I've played, and they all play like that to me. Like, if you lose momentum, like, dude, you just become this slow, plodding...
Well, they fixed that in... I can see that. I can kind of see that in the older 2D games. But they've... In Adventures... The adventure games, they fixed that.
Well, that's where I will agree with you. Sonic Adventure Battle 2 is the only Sonic game I like.
Yeah.
And the reason why is that the level design in that game is... fucking impeccable, because the levels are designed so that if you're good at the game and you know where the level, like, things in the levels are, you never have to stop. Like, you never have to lose momentum, and you can do all these cool ass tricks. I'm thinking of the first level of the game, actually, when you play as Sonic on the in the city, and you're on the snowboard, and you're like grinding on the fucking rails and stuff. That whole level, or most of that level, dude. Like, you can. I think I mentioned this before, but I like perfected my run through that level where I was beating it in like 2.5 minutes, and it was like I could barely beat my time. Like, I had to be perfect. Like, I could never ever stop my momentum. And like, it was super fun though, because the level was so well designed. It was designed with that in mind, like, that you would never have to stop if you were good enough.
Well, a lot of the reason, like, with Sonic or Sonic 06, the reason I hate modern Sonic games is because it's super linear, where they design it around a boost mechanic where you don't have a lot of paths and options, right? Whereas with, like, Sonic 06 and the older Sonic Adventure games, they took in mind that some people may stop and explore the map, and they have other options.
Dude, yeah, that was the cool part about the game, is there were two different play styles. Like, you could play the game where you explore the levels.
Yeah.
And there's actually things to find.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's also the style of you going really fast.
Exactly.
Right? Like, and
a lot of people don't understand that, and I feel like the reason I'm putting that into context with, like, World of Warcraft is World of Warcraft kind of has that same thing it's going through, right? You have these people who just press 2 buttons to win. They blast through it, and they want to get to their...
And they think that's what the game should be.
The game should be. Whereas the game was more complex when it first came out. Complexity does... Sometimes going slower makes more sense. You can build stuff around being more slower.
Like we were talking about with Game of Thrones, right? Yes, 4 more episodes is more time.
Yes.
And could become a slog if the story's not well told. But if you use those episodes properly and build them up and use that time to properly tell the story, the payoff is that much better. And it's the same thing with World of Warcraft or Sonic, right? Where the complexity that World of Warcraft had and the time investment it required to get good gear, to level up to max level, there was a reward at the end of the tunnel that was worth it.
Yeah.
Now, when I play World of Warcraft, or when I played World of Warcraft for Pandaria, there was no reward. I didn't feel like there was a reward. Like, I felt like I wasted 2 weeks of my time. You know, I was pissed. I can't, like, I leveled from 80 to 100 or whatever the level cap was. I really don't remember. And I quit. I didn't buy Draenor. I was like, this game sucks. This game's like bad. Like, it's just like not a fun game. Like, they ruined World of Warcraft. Yeah,
and that's the problem. Like, they feel like they cater to one side of the audience. Sonic Team did the same thing with Sonic. Yeah. They cater to we gotta go fast. This is all Sonic is known for. Like, everyone's like, no, Sonic is known for, we want to go fast, but we can also explore the level if I wanted to do that. I can also have a Mario style game where I could just want to explore the level. World of Warcraft is that same type of deal where you can blast vanilla, you could blast through it. There are people who did it, but it took effort.
Yeah, you can get, getting from 1 to 60, if you do it optimally, you could get there in 10 days, 10 to 12 days of played time.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of time. That's 240 hours. It's a lot of time investment. But for an MMO, back then, that actually was pretty light.
Yeah, that was
pretty light to get to max level.
Exactly. So. But I understand they want people to... people have jobs like me and you. We can't get to that and everything like that nature.
Yeah, they want to retain those players.
And they want to retain those players, but so what? I'm being honest. That's my fault. That's my fault for not being able to keep up. I'm starting this game. I understood when I come into this game, this is what I understand. I'm not going to be able to keep up with college kids who have 12 hours.
It's going to take us 3 months to get to max level.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like, unless we don't play any other games.
But that's a quality game to me,
but,
though.
dude, no, that's my point about the payoff. Once we hit 60, it's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's going to be a payoff. That's why their attitude about this is so frustrating for me. Is like they're almost like antagonistic towards people like me that like want the old game back
because they just feel like you're entitled. I think it's like an entitled
they almost maybe they feel like I betrayed them too. That I gave up. Like I abandoned World of Warcraft because I didn't like their vision for the game. But they're also being entitled with that same attitude. They're not entitled to my playtime. They're not entitled to my money.
Yeah.
They're not entitled to my attention. If you can't hold my attention, you don't deserve my money. That's the way video games are. It's cutthroat, but sorry, like, if your game is not fun, I'm not going to play it. Like,
exactly.
Straight up. Like you said, we have limited time now. I have to be very discerning with my time. World of Warcraft is not worth my time.
Yeah.
Like, dude, isn't that ironic though? Right? Like they probably say that was ironic because it's like it's going to take me 3 months in real time to get to max level in vanilla, whereas I could do it in like 2 weeks in Battle for Azeroth.
Why would you want to play that?
But that's not what I enjoy in a video game. I want that proper build up. I want to go through the adventure, right?
Yeah.
Like World of Warcraft vanilla is an adventure. There are stories that you personally have that no one else has when you level, right?
Yeah.
Like we could all do the same quest, right? And we all go through it in different ways, right? Because like maybe a horde player shows up while you're doing it and it's fucking ganks you or something, or like a giant horde group comes, or maybe some spawn happens or something like that in that part of the world, or maybe you run into somebody that's doing the quest as well and you guys do it together. It's like things like that happened in vanilla, and it sounds like, based on a lot of the things I've read and my own experiences, that current World of Warcraft's not like that anymore.
Well, that I guess this would be a different topic for a different time, but that just goes back to maybe us just being older gamers. Mm-hmm. But like shit back then took a while to get to. Like even the fastest games took a while to master. I remember Call of Duty back then. The reason I love that game was because it took a while to master the game. It took a while to prestige. It took a while to get all these skins and things of that nature. It was complex in the way that it played. Halo, a lot of people and that's why I got mad when like Call of Duty came out and then Halo came out. People were like, Halo's so slow. And I'm like, bro, Halo's a good shooter. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, these games too, they rewarded you for your time.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem now, is I think a lot of these companies, Blizzard is one of the worst offenders of this, they're trying to cater to that instant gratification that I think a lot of us have gotten used to in our actual lives, with Google and YouTube and everything, and Netflix and all that stuff. And I think the problem with that is that when I play a game, I don't want instant gratification. I want to be led on a journey. I want to like experience something that I haven't experienced before. And that's I think that's where they've lost the plot with like Blizzard going down the path of mobile gaming is they're completely counter to the company they were.
Yeah,
like that is the exact opposite side of the spectrum. Exactly. Dude, they were the company that they would take 5 years to make a game because they wanted it to be perfect. Yep. Right? And they were like, people would ask them for years and years and years and years, when's this game coming out? When's this game coming out? And they're like, it'll be done when it's ready. Like there's no timetable. We're not giving you a timetable because we want this game to be perfect. Like the game's playable now. Like right now. You can literally play it. Like we have it up online, but we are testing and balancing and trying to figure everything out because we want this game to be a perfect experience.
Yeah.
They did that with Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne, even World of Warcraft. And then and even later on with StarCraft, as much as I don't like StarCraft 2, like they did the same thing with StarCraft 2 though. They went through iteration after iteration. They had tons of betas. They did it with Diablo 3 as well. As much as I don't like that game, that time Blizzard was still kind of that company though.
Yeah.
And even with Overwatch, they did it with Overwatch too. Actually, thinking about it, it's like. And Blizzard still does that now. I mean, obviously, they're having a beta for this, too. It's like a 3-month-long beta for an old game that they made. It's like... But the problem is the games themselves have changed.
Yeah, and Overwatch is definitely an instant gratification
100%.
game. Diablo 3, World of Warcraft is definitely an instant gratification type game. Heroes of the Storm used to be like that, but
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone. Before Heroes of the Storm went out, I feel like it wasn't moving fast enough for them.
Yeah.
It wasn't gaining momentum, and they didn't build it around what they need to build it around.
No, and then they closed the game.
And they closed the game,
I mean, it's still live.
It's still live, but the esports for it is just dead. And I don't know, it's just weird how a lot of game companies are doing that. I feel like the reason why we had that whole conversation, or not us in particular, but the whole conversation surrounding Sekiro was because Sekiro is one of those games that, and the reason why Dark Souls is so beloved and Bloodborne, it took time to get to where you needed to get
learn,
to. Yeah.
And then it takes time. It takes time to learn the fights. It takes time to learn the enemies. It takes time to build your character up where you're powerful enough to take on those enemies.
Exactly.
And then when you beat them, there's a payoff.
Yep.
That's worth it. You're rewarded for your time rather than something like Diablo 3 where you're not rewarded for your time. That game was an insult when it first came out.
Oh yeah, that auction house shit was crazy.
The auction house was trash. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the leveling experience. And that's true to this day in Diablo 3, by the way. The 1 to 60 leveling experience is one of the biggest wastes of time in video games. And it set this precedent that I hate.
Does it do with the Destiny thing?
Because, no, it set the trend of the Destiny thing. Where you don't get anything for leveling up. Leveling up is like a formality. It's just a thing that happens in the game because it's an RPG, quote-unquote an RPG.
Yeah.
And that was the epitome of what Blizzard had become to me. They're the company that makes a time waster. They're not a company that makes a fun game that rewards you for your time. Diablo 3, to me, doesn't reward you for your time. Like, you just play it because you want to grind. Like, that's the way I view that game. Grim Dawn's the other opposite side of the spectrum. That game rewards me for my time. Like, I am constantly having fun playing that game.
Yeah.
Building my characters is slow. It takes a long time. But when you're done and you've built a character that can competently handle the content in that game, it's so rewarding to be like, man, I made this character. No one else did. I made that. I made that character. And it's kicking the shit out of all these enemies, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, that's fun. Diablo 3 doesn't have that because every single demon hunter is exactly the fucking same. You can make your own little build. The problem is there's a fucking meta in that game where certain abilities are good at certain times and then Blizzard nerfs them and then new abilities are the good abilities now. It's like there's different metas for every season. It's like it's just not a fun game. It's like you're playing a MOBA, but it's an ARPG. It's like,
yeah, I don't like that. I don't
me
like
either. And all the looter shooters started doing that same thing.
Yeah.
Leveling in those games is a completely vapid experience. Like, it's not fun. It's not. None of them are fun. I hate leveling in those games. It's so boring. It's such a waste of your time.
It is.
It's an insult, straight up. Like, I hate those games.
Because everyone's like in-game content, but like,
yeah.
I feel like the in-game content is the meat of the game.
But dude, building your character should be the meat of the game.
Exactly.
Right? Building your character should be the meat. And the end game should be the cherry on top.
Exactly.
Right? That's what vanilla was. You know? That's what current World of Warcraft isn't. That's
because you were doing all that shit while you're leveling. You were doing, I don't want to say
you're
raids.
building your character while you're leveling, you know?
You were doing, but you were doing like 10-man groups and 10-man stuff and everything like that while you were leveling up. But then when you got to your final level, you're like, oh, this is what all this is preparing me for.
And then you start doing 15 mans and
Exactly.
UBRS and 10 mans. Most of the dungeons at level 60 are 10 mans too. That's the crazy part about vanilla.
And I will say, like with Destiny, they try to do that with the strikes, but they didn't perfect it. Like it just went from strikes to complicated ass raids, and it's like, wait, you didn't prepare me for this. There's
no preparation whatsoever. They just throw you into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah,
like World of Warcraft, like you have to, dude. Like I was saying with the cave, right? You have to think about how you want to tackle the cave. I'm thinking about some of the instances in that game, particularly like Scarlet Monastery is a good example. Like when you go through Scarlet Monastery, you have to think about how you want to go through those rooms because there's tons of enemies in those rooms.
Yeah.
And if you don't go through them properly, you're going to aggro a lot more than you can handle, and you're just going to die.
Yeah.
And my problem with World of Warcraft ultimately became that the community kind of ruined the game first, where they created a meta themselves.
I think that's the hardest thing for players, not Blizzard themselves, but players need to face up.
Yeah.
That we ruined a lot of this shit.
Because we're the ones who created the optimal builds. We're the ones who created the optimal clear paths and all that stuff. We stopped playing the game and we started letting other people play the game for us.
Exactly.
And I was one of the people in World of Warcraft, Vanilla, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, in the moment realized that was happening, and I tried to fight against that tide as hard as I could, and it, to my own detriment, many a times I was thrown out of groups because I didn't have the current meta build, or I was trash talked because my damage wasn't quite as high as the guy next to me who had the fucking, perfect build or whatever, things like that. And it's that was such a frustrating thing, and the game turned into, they started catering to that, and it was so disappointing. And it's like super sad when I think about it because, dude, Vanilla World of Warcraft and Burning Crusade are like two of my favorite gaming experiences that I can think of in my life. Yeah. And I'm never going to get that back. As much as I'm excited for this isn't going to bring me back to that. Because it's like, I know the game. Like, when I start playing this game again, I know what quests I'm going to go do. Like, I know how to level. I know the optimal level path. Like, I came up with it myself, but I know the optimal level path.
It's going to be like a new game because I didn't play vanilla, so it's going to be cool for me.
Fair enough. That'll be fun for you. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to play because there are going to be people to play with this time. I never had anyone to play with. I had like one friend and that played World of Warcraft during vanilla, and him and I didn't really raid much. He did eventually, but I wasn't super into it.
I'll tell you from experience, not just from World of Warcraft, but like Final Fantasy, something about doing MMO with just 4 or 5 friends. Yeah. I think that's why I fell in love with Final Fantasy so much, because I started that because of them. They're like, hey man, play this game with us, and I played it, and now that I play it solo, I don't get that same feeling. When I had them with me, even though they didn't know what the fuck a tank was doing and shit like that, they didn't understand. It was just so fun going through that shit with them, because it was like, hey, this is my party, this is what we're doing. Yeah. And
we're gonna have to conquer things together. Exactly. And that's gonna be the fun part. Is there's gonna be none of that meta bullshit. Yeah. We're not gonna have outside players telling us how to do things. Yeah. We're just gonna be able to do it ourselves and figure it out ourselves. And that'll be the fun part for me. So I am looking forward to it from that perspective.
That's kind of why I like playing Monster Hunter with y'all, because we do that same shit.
I want games to go back to that, man. I mean, there are games like that. Monster Hunter is a good example, right? But even that game started going in the wrong direction.
It has the meta and everything like that. But
not even the meta; it's just the ease of play.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that's a detriment to the series. So I don't know. I understand you have to cater to the largest section of the market you can, but at the same time, I think if you make a good game is just going to sell. Vanilla World of Warcraft is just evidence of that, right? Yeah. And Burning Crusade. I mean, that period of time, I think Wrath was the peak subscriber numbers for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, when Wrath came out, I do remember. And then what was the one after Wrath?
Cataclysm. Yeah, that was when numbers started going down. Yeah, pretty significantly.
Yeah, that's when I remember a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I'm done with WoW."
Yeah, they lost a lot of players from that transition. That expansion was probably the worst. that one, they screwed the game up because the thing was, Wrath was the beginning of the end. They started getting players used to all these ease of use mechanics.
Yeah.
Added the dungeon finder and did all these things. I think even by the end of Wrath, they had the looking for raid tool, which is horrifying.
Really?
Yeah, that think that was the beginning where that was when they first added that. And I think Cataclysm was like funny because I remember at first hearing people say that like Cataclysm was like super hard compared to Wrath. Like they went back to like making the game hard again, and their players weren't used to the game being hard anymore. Like they had made their players soft, you know.
Wow.
Their players had become soft, so it was like, I don't know. It was funny, man. It's just funny. It's sad and funny. I'm happy Classic's coming though.
Maybe we're just old men, man.
I think we are. I mean, I've always been an old man. I was an old man when I turned 13. Like
I'm talking about like as far as gaming though. Like gaming has surpassed our taste so much that we're just like, man, like I guess this is what gaming has become.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's still games out there for people like us. It's just unfortunately a lot of kids. Like I want kids to experience. Like I want my kids to experience that. Like experience running through like a Sonic level or Mario level and just having to figure it out. Like there is no YouTube. There's a gaming forum that come out every month.
Dude, that's the shitty part about this. It's like, yeah, Wowhead exists and is like it's just a place, like it's an automatic get out of jail free card for everybody. Like if you can't figure something out in vanilla, you can just go online and look it up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like the sad part. That didn't really exist when vanilla came out. Like it took a little while for that stuff to build up.
Yeah.
You know, that was the fun part about vanilla is none of us knew how anything worked. You know, none of us knew how the quests worked. We didn't know where all the quests were.
There's a fun and ignorance in being in a video game.
100%. So when I play this, like, dude, I'm going to try as hard as I can to not look up anything. I remember a lot of it because I played this game so much. But
bro, I'm going in blind, completely blind.
And like, even when we're doing dungeons, I'm really going to encourage us not to look up strategies because I don't want to do. I'd rather figure it out. I'd rather us fail and figure it out. Yeah. You know? That's more fun.
It is.
That's the fun experience.
I think that's why
I don't remember what all the bosses do. I don't.
I mean, it just kind of. I think that's why we're similar in play style in the games we play. Like we bitch about PUBG, but it's like we try to figure shit out.
It's plotting though. Yeah, right. It's like rewarding. We like, dude. It's a slow game. It's hard to play. It's like the game's really clunky, but man, when you win, you feel so good. Like
that's why I play Monster Hunter too, or the original Monster Hunters before World came out. It was kind of clunky, and even though they improved things over time, it was still just like you had to get over these hurdles that were intentionally there. But once you did it, and once you mastered it, you were like, bro, I beat this fucking Silver Rathlos with under 5 minutes. Fuck him. Like, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, one message to everybody out there. Any of you listening to this. If you don't want to play Vanilla Classic, don't. I don't need you. Nobody needs you in this. Okay, if you don't want to play this and you're just gonna sub for a month so you can get your little snarky comment in there about how Vanilla's not fun and like, you know, all of us that like it are stupid. Like, go away. Okay, please just do me that favor. Like, I don't need people like this. Like, let those of us who want this enjoy this. Okay, because we don't like.
There is a game for you.
We let you play World of Warcraft. Yeah. Current, like, I don't care, dude. Like, I don't like it, but I don't begrudge anybody playing it.
Yeah, I don't come onto the forums and like, oh man, this game sucked. You guys still playing it? Like,
yeah, dude. I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna talk trash about the game because I don't like it. Yeah. But you can play it. Let me play this. All right. Let me and Montrell play this. All right, that's all I ask. All right, we're gonna skip the new list of video games. I doubt this. I don't think there's anything. Nothing I know of that's coming out. There's a lot of games actually, interestingly enough. But we've been going for 2 hours. I think we're gonna call it here. So, if you like the show, please like the show wherever you listen to it, and then review the show, and then subscribe to the feed that you're listening to it on. And if you could, share it with your friends. We'd really appreciate that. We'd like to grow the audience. We want to start getting questions. I know we've said this like every episode. We still never gotten a question. 21 episodes, we still never gotten a question. And I know there's plenty of you people out there listening. So send us a question, and we will read it. Montrell on Twitter. If you want to talk to us on Twitter, Montrell is iTrap4 the Hokage, the number 4, not the word. I am at ThunderNet01. The podcast is at The Player's Take.
If you want to send us a question, like I said earlier, you can send it to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. You can also send it to our Twitters, though. I have notifications on, so I will see your tweet for sure. And that's going to be it for this week. Next week, I don't know. We got E3 coming up soon.
Yeah, we may do some E3 predictions and shit.
I got to
like
look at
that.
the dates, though. I think E3 is like 3 weeks away or 4 weeks away. So we may not. I'm probably not going to do it next
It
week.
usually happens in June, though.
It's like June 13th, I think, or something like that. So we still got a few weeks till that. So I don't think we're going to talk about that next week, but I'm sure something will happen. We'll figure something out. We'll talk about something.
Yeah, it's just been a slow
month. This was a really slow month.
Yeah, this time in gaming
like
is
for
always,
releases and news was slow.
It's always slow around every year though. It's slow around this time.
Hopefully, some bomb drops, some big juicy bomb drops, and we could talk about that for 2 hours.
Yeah,
But all right, that's gonna be it for this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next one. All right, bye, guys.